Welcome back, everybody. This is Question Mark,
And I'm Ame.
and today we are looking at the latest Magic the Gathering set full of new commanders, Spider-Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Let's go!
Today we are bringing you pictures of Spider-Man, and for anyone who hasn't seen us before, we do Let's Play videos of video games. We also are covering Magic the Gathering, but a variety of kind of podcast-style YouTube videos of us trying video games for the first time. And we just
sometimes we do tier lists of Magic the Gathering sets, which have been so far our most popular videos, so we're gonna keep doing them.
and we try to get them out as soon as possible. Although, my God, another set with this one has 93 legendary creatures that you can make your commander coming out in it.
Hey, at least it's not as bad as when we did all of those Final Fantasy commanders.
Yeah, there were almost twice as many.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be okay here. We may
was
have to
like-
break it up, though.
Yeah, it's probably going to be more than one part because, I mean, look at that. It doesn't even all fit on my screen at once.
Anyway,
And we're going to be ranking them by if we are excited to maybe build a deck with it, if it seems like a solid commander, if it's better in the 99, or if it's just straight up lame. So without any further ado, we're going to be starting with Agent Venom. And I have these in alphabetical order here. So why don't you start off by reading our Agent Venom here?
Agent Venom here is a 2/3 symbiote soldier hero. Okay, we're getting a symbiote creature type. For 2 and a black, with Flash, Menace, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you draw a card, and you lose a life.
Okay, so whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card and lose a life. So that is very similar to a card, I think it's called Midnight Rider. Is it? Nope, it's not called that. Oh no. Midnight, it's literally a guy on a horse. Midnight Reaper. Yeah, whenever a non-token creature you control dies, this creature deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. And it's 3 mana and it's similar stats. Okay, so this is a pretty good card.
Yeah.
It does see play in zombie decks, even a little bit in night decks. Because even dealing 1 damage to yourself to draw a card is not that big a deal. And in black and white decks in particular, you can gain life. Actually, black decks on their own, you can gain life. Drawing cards is at a premium. Now, this guy has Menace, which makes him better as a commander because you can put stuff on him and he's more likely to hit.
Oh my god, he's a menace.
Yes, he is a menace. There is a bit of a menace theme in this set. But here's the craziest thing. So it says here, wounded in action, Corporal Thompson was offered an experimental way to be all he could be. Now, we don't know that much
Flash
about Spider-Man
Thompson.
lore. Yep.
This guy was Spider-Man's bully, and then he was offered a chance to venom up.
Did you just put that together now, or did you know that?
I knew that, but it took me some doing to unearth it.
Okay, I didn't know that until I started seeing spoilers for this set. And yes, so the guy, Flash Thompson, eventually becomes Agent Venom, and he has Flash. And that is a big flavor win. Also, almost all these are going to have at least one alternate art version with the extended art there, but...
We're not going to get too far into that unless the art looks really cool.
Okay, so where am I going to put this guy on the tier list? I think he is a solid commander, although I think he's also good in the 99. I think the problem here is that he doesn't give you anything like too specific to build your deck around, other than like creatures dying.
Which is, that's just kind of the entirety of Black's thing.
Yeah, lots of black decks care about creatures dying. This one does care about creatures you control specifically, so we're talking aristocrats. We're talking creatures that cause you to sacrifice other creatures and stuff. It's a popular theme that there's a lot of competition in.
The interesting thing about the character of Flash Thompson as Agent Venom, when he discovered Spider-Man's true identity and realized, oh my god, that guy whose ass I was kicking is Spider-Man. Newfound respect for the guy.
Oh, when he learned that he was Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because one of his defining characteristics when he's younger is that he's ironically, a super fan of Spider-Man, but a bully to Peter. And that causes some fun conflicts with the characters.
There
But
are so many cool things you can do with, with that kind of setup. The person that you're bullying and the person that you admire, same person. Crisis of conscience, right there.
yeah, but without anything specific to being a symbiote, a soldier, or a hero, you know what? I'm tempted to put the guy in better in the 99 because also Flash is
What?
no surprise when it comes from the command zone. So right now, I think I want to have him on the borderline. He'll be either one of the lowest on solid commanders or one of the highest on better in the 99. So I
Be a
may rearrange
solid
him later.
be a solid commander, you got to be better than this, and to be better in the 99, you will probably be less than this.
In fact, I think the last thing I want to say about him is that there are certain like tentpole things that every commander deck needs. That is ramp, card draw, removal, and a finisher. And what is he of those things? He's card draw. So that's a good thing to have in the command zone. You can rely on card draw in your deck. You don't have to put that many cards in the 99 that do it if he's your commander. You want the rest of your 99 to be focused on the other elements. So that's, I think, fair. Next, though, we have Anti-Venom,
Anti-Venom.
Horrifying Healer. Why don't you try to read this one for us?
Okay, we've got a legendary symbiote hero. Ooh, symbiote hero. A 5/5, and who requires 5 white mana to cast. That is a lot.
I don't think we've ever seen a cost like that in a commander.
And when Anti-Venom enters, if he was cast, return target creature from your graveyard right back to the battlefield.
Nice.
If damage will be dealt to Anti-Venom, prevent that damage and put that many 1/1 counters on him. I don't know too much about Anti-Venom, except that he's, I think he's one of Venom's many spawn, but he hates his dad. I don't know. I'd have to look this up. Sorry,
Okay,
I
yeah.
tried.
Hopefully we've got some of our subscribers who are like Spider-Man lore heads. I've seen most of the movies, but of course we're getting way deeper than the movies in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, as far as I know, Anti-Venom hasn't made it into a movie. Unless it was one of
definitely
the
not.
Unless it was one of the animated ones. There's possibilities there.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've seen all the Tobey Maguire ones, all the Tom Holland ones, and the Miles Morales animated ones. I didn't see Andrew Garfield.
From what I've heard, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, but
Sorry, Andrew. This was just...
I mean, I'm caught up on the MCU, pretty much and stuff. So, but and I've read some comics, and I've seen just other stuff floating around in the nerd sphere. So I know of Anti-Venom, and I think that he's cool. I was a little surprised to see that he looks like this, and he's a hero. But
Yep.
I mean, the name kind of says it all in a way. I think that he's Anti-Venom.
Whoa, let's take a look at that promo art.
Oh, but ooh. Okay, so that's more like a guy in a suit. Interesting.
A little less monstrous.
Okay. All right, well, so the effects here. Well, actually, does he pass the vanilla test?
Yes.
But I wouldn't say with flying colors. It's odd. The more colored mana pips there are in the cost, the harder it is to cast, of course. Unless he's your commander, in which case most of your mana sources are going to be white. None of them are going to be other colors. Some of them might be colorless. That'd be the only problem.
This guy might even be better as a commander than in the 99.
Oh, for sure. A lot of cards are, but I don't think we've seen one that is worse in the 99. If you were thinking about doing a 2 or 3 color deck, forget about it. Don't put him in. When he enters, if he was cast, you resurrect a creature. That's a really good effect. In fact, the going rate for that usually was it late to... Is that what it's called? It's like late to dinner or something. Oh, great. Late is in a bunch of card names.
Even if it's not actually
late to dinner. I think this is one of the best cards that does this right now. 4 mana, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, make a food. So that's 4 mana. It's a common. But you're getting nearly, say, 3 white mana worth of spell, just in addition to him being a 5 mana 5/5. In addition to this nutso bonkers banana stuff, if damage would be dealt to anti-venom. So the other thing then is that you want to find ways of dealing damage to anti-venom all the time in order to make him big. Also, your commander just being keyword large is not good enough. You need to get some equipment or auras on him or something.
Oh, yeah. You probably want to find a way to get him defender.
Defender? That can't be right.
No, not defender.
Maybe?
Shoot.
Vigilance, maybe? Or trample. It seems like a pretty obvious one. Lifelink would be fun. But, okay, ways of having him get dealt damage in mono white. That is difficult, but why does Caltrops come to mind? This is probably a bad card, but...
Whenever a creature attacks, Caltrops deals 1 damage. Oh!
So if your opponent was playing a go wide deck with elves or rats or fairies or something, this might just shut it down altogether. Also, of course, anti-venom attacks and you bop him. I think another one is it Light Mine Field?
Oh, that is pretty.
Yeah, can you read that?
Let's see. Whenever one or more creatures attack, Light Mine Field deals damage to each of those creatures equal to the number of attacking creatures.
This one is absolutely brutal, and I never see it. But in mono-white decks, honestly, mono-white decks are often the ones that are hurt the most by this because they often will have a lot of little creatures, and attacking with 2 will deal 2 damage to all your creatures, attacking with 3 will deal 3 damage. So that's really rough. But if you're playing with anti-venom, you're going to be attacking with 1, maybe no other creatures, and bopping him for 1, no big deal. This hurts your
this guy
opponents,
is your
though.
closer.
Oh yeah, he's your everything, but Light Mine Field does double duty, serving both defense and to pump your commander reliably with a one-time investment. The last thing you need, honestly, is just a suite of equipment, but it's pretty standard stuff. I mean, you could put swords on him, you can put things...
Oh man, the swords.
Yeah, you can put Loxodon Warhammer on him, all kinds of things.
I would say you could almost run this deck with him as the only creature. Almost.
Yeah, the problem is that other people are going to attack you, so you can only play so many Light Mine Fields and Caltrops and Windborn Muses and Ghostly Prisons.
In any case,
ideally you would have Vigilance.
In any case, I think this is an exciting one.
I totally agree.
He has an interesting setup to take some decks in some weird directions that are perhaps underexplored. Yeah. Give him exciting.
I 100% agree. Oh, actually, his first ability there, Resurrects a Creature, you definitely want to have some creatures in the deck. But pro tip, put in ones with cycling.
Oh.
You can cycle them early and then reanimate them onto the battlefield. Plane cycling even. Trust me, look up cycling. People are probably underplaying cycling cards right now. All right, Arachne.
I do not know this character.
Me neither.
Pretty though.
Yeah, she's pretty. Go ahead.
All right, Arachne, Psionic Weaver. 3/3 spider human hero for 2 and a white and has web slinging. You may cast this spell for white if you also return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand. Okay, I suppose that's supposed to be wrapping them up in webbing and leaving them for the police.
Something like that, or like swinging from building to building so you can like kind of be like, surprise, I'm here.
As Arachne enters, look at an opponent's hand and then choose a card type other than creature. Spells of the chosen type cost 1 more to cast. Oh, that is rude.
Oh yeah, it is. So at first, a 3-mana 3/3 with that ability seems solid, and shutting off your opponents like that is definitely rude for brackets 2 or 3 in Commander. And I am, of course, primarily looking at Commander for all of these things, obviously. It's the main format I play, the main format that Magic players play. But in other, like, more competitive formats, I think that that's a very reasonable thing to do to your opponent.
It's rude, but it's reasonable. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like Rhystic. What is it, Rhystic Study?
Rhystic Study, it's also a bit like, what do people play sometimes?
Smothering Tithe?
Thalia comes to mind. Yeah, with that
Non-creature
effect.
spells cost 1 more to cast. Yeah.
People play this a lot in CEDH. And I looked at this and I was like, is this a CDH playable card? But then I thought, no, because it's a 3 mana 3/3. That's a little slow. You get to look at your opponent's hand, though. That's really good. It doesn't strictly affect your opponents, but Thalia gets around that. But then the web slinging is what does it for me. You can, in theory, get this out at instant speed for 1 white mana. And that, I think, makes it potentially a CEDH card. So web slinging this is the first time we're talking about it, of course.
Yep.
It's going to remind a lot of people of ninjutsu if you've been playing since at least the second Kamigawa block, or in my case, the first. But there are some key differences. Yes, you can attack with one of your creatures and then at instant speed pay the web slinging cost and swap in Arachne for your attacker, but the creature that you're swapping out has to be tapped. It doesn't have to be in any other state, like it doesn't have to be attacking or unblocked or anything, just tapped. And then you can swap the new one in. Arachne and any other creature with web slinging is not going to enter attacking. It's not even going to enter tapped. So in fact, you probably don't want to do the ninjutsu thing with her. You don't want to be like, in the middle of combat, I'll bounce my own creature and drop in Arachne, because it'll stop your damage. You can do it to save one of your creatures, though.
The thing I'm thinking of is Maze of Ith.
Maze of Ith. Okay.
You remember Maze of Ith?
Yeah. So you can like stop an attack that's coming at you. In fact, there's a lot of ways of doing that. Okay, you know what? You could attack with like 3 creatures. One of them gets blocked and would die, and you swap it out with web slinging.
Yep.
To save it. You can
Or
also,
if someone gets mazed and then, oh look, now I have more people on the field. Although I guess it would only really work if she has haste as well.
Yeah, so she can't attack the turn that she comes in that way, but you can use her as a surprise blocker. You can use her as a surprise trick. Like maybe your opponent casts like Wheel of Fortune or something, so they're going to draw a whole new hand and have some explosive turn. And you can be like, in response, I'm going to drop this, and now you can't play any more creatures or something without.
Sidebar, why do masked superheroes leave their Why do masked superheroes like Batman and like Arachne here leave the lower part of their face open? I mean, I think it would be more practical to keep your mouth and nose covered so you can just wear an oxygen mask underneath it. So, what are we doing? So, Batman, Arachne, assorted other jaw showers. What are we doing?
Well, I think it's for a similar reason to why you leave all that flowing hair. Aesthetics.
Okay.
I think that it looks good. But also I think it helps with expressiveness of your main characters. You're not going to get the eyes, though, because that's too iconic for Spider-Man. You need to have the eyes like that for it to be a spider person. But to focus back in on the magic commander thing, where do I think she goes as a commander? I think that she's solid. She's also really good in the 99 because this is another one that web slinging is kind of like having flash. You just have to have a tapped creature. And that tapped creature, by the way, could be something like Avacin's Pilgrim. Okay, you can tap this creature for a white and then bounce it to drop Arachne. So you can turn your ramp, if it's creature-based ramp, into dropping creatures for cheap. It's pretty wild.
You just know that somebody somewhere is going to start making a web slinger deck.
Oh, 100%.
And honestly, that would be hilarious.
It will not only be hilarious, it'll be good, and there's absolutely support for it in this deck. The web slinging mechanic seems to be mostly in white-green. So that said, I'm not terribly excited by her, in part because she's just one color. We've talked before about how having a monocolor commander limits you some.
To a significant degree, I would say.
Yeah, and she doesn't give you any of the 4 pillars I was talking about before, your card draw, your ramp, your removal, or your finisher. She shuts down your opponents. And she's not going to be a surprise when she's in the command zone, and I think she's at her most powerful when she's a surprise. So does that mean that I put her in the better in the 99?
Well, let's run her against Agent Venom then.
I'd say that this is a more universal effect. I actually, you know what? I think I have to put her down in the 90, in the better in the 99. Not to say that she's a worse card than him necessarily, but that the surprise is more valuable, and the effect here is more universal Everybody needs card draw. You're going to need it every game. You're going to need it all the time. This is something that you might not need all the time. So, with that said, I think I need to move on.
All right. I do not know this one either. Aranya, Heart of the Spider.
Okay.
She's got more of a techie vibe going,
Oh,
looks
heck
like.
yeah. Is that a whole cybernetic arm, it looks like?
Yep, whole cybernetic arm and little cyber spooter thing that she's throwing at our faces.
Oh, and it's got a thread connecting to it, so it's almost like a yo-yo or something.
Okay, that's good. That's pretty punk. I'm also digging the goggles here.
All right, so what does she do?
Okay, we've got a spider human hero for 1, a red, and a white at 3/3. And whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on a target attacking creature. Whenever a creature you control deals combat...
I'm sorry, you missed an important word.
Oh. Whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that this turn. So that's equipment, auras you control, and counters.
So, vanilla test.
We're passing that.
Okay. Now, 4 pillars, though. We're not seeing card draw, ramp, removal. She's not exactly a finisher per se, but she will rack up damage and help you build towards victory from racking up damage in the form of your +1/+1 counters. And actually, you know what? I take it back. She is kind of card draw because exiling the top card of your library and playing it this turn is the red impulse draw mechanic that we've been seeing a lot in recent years.
That's right.
So she actually does cover a pillar and a half-ish. A mostly yes on both. Red-white is really crowded for commanders that care about like equipments and auras and stuff, especially equipments. But considering she brings the counters that count as modifications, I think that goes a long ways.
She brought enough gum for the whole class.
Yeah. She only puts a counter on 1 attacking creature, so it does kind of benefit you to put more eggs in fewer baskets, so like a going tall thing for the first mechanic. But the second mechanic will exile you more cards if you hit with more modified creatures. So we're kind of splitting the difference here between boosting herself and boosting other people. I think this card is pretty good, but let's see. I don't love the impulse draw mechanic because a lot of times you'll reveal the top card and it's like 7 mana and you've got 5. And like, well, all right, that card's gone forever. Or you'll exile the top card and it's a land and you've already played a land. You're like, crap. So there's a lot of ways that it can go wrong. But I don't think that she's lame. Anything that goes vanilla and then plus and has like kind of card draw and other stuff on it like that, she's not lame.
No.
Is she better in the 99? I think she may prove to be better in the 99 just because I think there might be better commanders of this style that she'll go right in there. But if you want to have her as your commander because you read the comics that she's from or something, more power to you. That's going to almost always be the case.
She does look like she likes to have fun with enhancements. I mean, look at that arm.
Whoa!
Oh, now that's an outfit.
Okay, is this like a completely different character? Because not only does she have a real arm, but like the hair is a different shade and everything. Like this looks like a white girl, and this looks like a not white girl. So I don't know. But also, a lot of these characters have been around for decades and been reimagined and stuff, so I don't know. Somebody does.
They both look good to me.
But I think she's a respectable commander, but I think that within the broad scope of all of the commander options you could have in Boros modifications and stuff, I think there might be better options. But let's go on to Aunt May. Classic.
Note the framed photo of Uncle Ben in the background.
Oh, Uncle Ben. All right, what does she do?
Let's see. We've got a 0/2 human citizen for 1 white mana, and whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. If it's a spider, put a 1/1 counter on it.
Honestly, this is lovely. And the flavor text.
I cooked your favorite breakfast, Petey. Wheat cakes.
Aw. And we got a copy of the Daily Bugle out here. Honestly, this set is going to be full of like,
Deep cuts.
well, of city vibes is what I'm talking about. Modern city vibes, New York vibes that we haven't gotten before and may never get again in Magic.
That is a really nice tablecloth.
Yes, it is. Aunt May keeps a good house, despite, usually being on the brink of poverty in a lot of cases. She's been around long enough. She's just had these things for a long time,
Well, yeah, she's supposed to remind you of your grandma.
1 mana is kind of perfect for all this. 0/2. Yeah, I don't.
Passing the vanilla test.
I don't know if she's ever harmed a fly. I don't. Not in the stuff that I've seen. And she's got the Soul Sister thing going on. Let me show you a Soul Sister. Soul Warden, I think, is the original Soul Sister. If you want to read that.
Let's see. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life.
Okay, so Soul Warden and 1 or 2 other cards that are very similar to it are staples in a whole, style of deck called Soul Sisters. It just gains you life repeatedly when creatures enter. Now, Soul Warden triggers off of any other creature entering. Aunt May only triggers off of other creatures entering under your control. But, I mean, you saw the web slinging ability.
Yeah.
That's a way that you can tap your creatures and then have them like bounce out and then bounce back in and bounce out and bounce back in repeatedly, gaining you more life every time you web sling. Also, that means that she's excellent support for a spider person deck.
She's Soul Grandma.
Oh yeah. Instead of Soul Sister, she's Soul Grandma or Soul Auntie.
I prefer Soul Grandma.
She's an old lady for an aunt, but regardless, obviously she's better in the 99.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that
It's Aunt May. You saw that coming.
It's an absolute flavor win on every front. So
Great card, but not a commander. That's okay. It's not for everyone.
also you'll notice that she doesn't have any alternate arts or frame styles because she's an uncommon. That's going to be the case for the uncommons. Next we have Beetle. Legacy Criminal.
Is this a reference to Blue Beetle, or am I just getting everything backwards?
Definitely not Blue Beetle. I think that's a DC character.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Oops. Sorry.
What does she do?
I have
She
to go
is
down.
Blue and a Beetle, though.
I have to go downtown to turn in my nerd card. I'll be right back.
It's fine. I'm gonna say something controversial here. Nobody cares about Blue Beetle. All right, that's my hot take.
I
What
mainly
does the
care
card
about.
do?
Well, to be honest, the main reason I care about Blue Beetle is because he was the inspiration for Night Owl from Watchmen. But I think that's earned me my. Okay, I think that earned me my nerd card back.
Okay.
More importantly, we've got a legendary human rogue villain at 3/3, or 3 mana and a blue. He's got flying, and for 1 mana and a blue, you exile this card from your graveyard to put a 1/1 counter on a target creature. It gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery.
Okay, so this set has so many deep cuts that they had to put legendary creatures, unique characters, all the way down in common. This is one of the
That's
few
comics
sets that
for ya.
have common legendary creatures, and there's often a kind of push and pull between like how good should a legendary creature be and how bad should a common be, and this is kind of wild. So she doesn't pass the vanilla test because she's a 4 mana 3/3.
Right.
She's got flying, and that's one of the better keyword abilities to have. And then you've got this, which at first, okay, so you exile her from your graveyard to make another creature bigger and have flying. And I just noticed now her wings in there. They kind of blend into the background.
Pretty wings.
Oh, absolutely. And not a spider person. She's a human rogue villain.
Nope, she's a
Okay.
beetle.
I guess. Yeah, even though she's got the eyes. They're kind of, well, bug eyes, I guess. So,
To be fair, she's far from the first person to borrow the spider eyes.
of course.
Looking at you, tokusatsu genre in general, and Power Rangers in particular.
And also kind of Deadpool and also a bunch of characters. So, okay. Her only other ability besides flying is exiling herself from your graveyard. And you can only do that at sorcery speed, and it gives a permanent +1 and a temporary flying.
Okay, so she's better in the 99, obviously, but is that as far down as she goes?
She's not better in the 99, because
She's
if she's
not.
your commander, then you can do this move multiple times, and if she's not, then you can do it once. She's lame.
Oh,
She's
ouch.
not good as a commander, and she's not good in the 99. She would be best in the command zone, because then at least you could do this trick a couple of times. But casting her for 4, wait a turn, do nothing, really just get a consolation prize for letting her go to your graveyard, put a counter on a creature, give it flying temporarily. None of that is that great, and so that's what we're probably going to see a few times with these common legends. It's basically draft chaff, but they threw a little something extra on you and gave you a unique name like Janice Lincoln.
I don't know this character enough to say anything.
Yeah. So let's go on to Black Cat. This is a popular character.
This is a character I know more by reputation than by seeing them in cartoons or comics or stuff.
Same. I've already seen a couple of people say they want to cosplay her, and good for them. I encourage it.
Understandably, look at her.
Yeah. So,
Also, kitties.
yeah.
Look at the kitties.
Yeah.
Is that Bean? I didn't know you posed for this.
Oh, yeah, the one on the right looks a bit like Bean. So, what does she do?
Well, we've got a 2/3 human rogue villain for 3 mana and 2 black mana. When she enters, look at the top 9 cards of target opponent's library, exile 2 of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. You may play the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. Mana of any type can be spent to cast spells this way.
Okay, so vanilla test.
No.
Absolutely not even close. Now,
But does the ability make up for that?
yeah, because the vanilla test is intended to show how good a creature is at rumbling for its cost, how good it is in combat in terms of efficiency, and she's really bad in terms of combat efficiency. If I remember right, she doesn't have, like, superpowers, really?
I do not know. I could not say for certain, but I do know that she's basically our answer to Catwoman,
Oh, yeah.
in that she's more of a thief, she's more of a cat burglar, and she has sex appeal.
Absolutely. Which, by the way, we've got this
Oh
alternate art
yeah,
version.
look at this.
Yeah, this is a reoccurring
I want to party
motif.
with her.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm
She
loving
looks
the
like a
font
lot of
choice
fun.
here.
Yeah, we've got the comic book font and everything, so keep an eye out for these fun alternates, which, geez, look at the pre-order prices here. Hey, people, unless you just want to burn money, don't pay pre-order prices. You'll be able to get a lot of these cards, like 80-90% of these cards, in a couple of weeks for like half this price, maybe less. So don't pay pre-order prices unless you're like, I don't care how much Spider-Man, I don't care how much J. Jonah Jameson costs. It could be $50. I want him now. Like, okay, fine. So how good is this effect? Well, I like that she looks at the top 9 cards. I think that's a cat reference.
9 lives. You take 9 of your opponent's lives and exile 2 of them for yourself.
So this is a lot like the card. I think I'm thinking of Praetor's Grasp. Praetor's Grasp, which does see play in CEDH, in that you can search your opponent's library for a card, exile it, and you can play it later.
I have so many questions about what's going on in this card.
In the art.
Yeah.
Getting a big old kiss from Sheoldred. But she doesn't want it. In fact, I don't know if Magic still works with Steve Argyle, because he was known for redrawing some Magic copyrighted characters in like suggestive lesbian art and selling it personally.
Ooh. I mean, no shade to drawing and selling lesbian art, but don't.
Yeah, like I agree with you in theory, but they're not your own copyrighted characters, and in some cases they're like, that's not a character who, like, you're kind of imposing something on the character. So it feels a little yucky when it's some outsider doing that and then selling it, for money. They're clearly like doing some cheesecake kind of stuff, but
Nothing
regardless.
against cheesecake, though. I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
If it's your own character, then definitely. Anyway, so back to Black Cat here. If you steal 2 cards out of your opponent's top 9 and you can play them later, that is not bad, but doing it once is not good enough. You need to have her do this multiple times. And in black, how do you do that? You can't really flicker her. Recasting her is not really a good option either because holy shit, she costs 5. That's way too much. And I mentioned that Praetor's Grasp is played in CEDH because it's 3 mana and you know exactly what's in your opponent's deck. It doesn't get around the color though, so you have to like steal something you know you can cast. Also in CEDH, they often only have like 2 cards that win them the game. And if you take those away from them, they kind of sometimes can't win. But this doesn't let you search their whole deck, and you're not necessarily playing against people who only have 2 cards that win them the game.
Oh dear, is this going into... Is this another one going into lame?
Well, there's one thing that gives her an in again, and it's effects like... I think it's Malakir Rebirth is one of the better cards that does this. Yes. Come on, did I miss?
That one, right? Oh, this looks like a scene out of the Garden of Earthly Delights.
You want to read that for us?
Yes. Choose target creature. You lose 2 life. Until end of turn, that creature gets, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control.
That is how you flicker Black Cat. There are like 10 cards that say, when this creature would die this turn, actually, psych, you thought. Including, not dead after all.
Dead. I am not dead yet.
Yeah, where it's literally like, yeah, when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield. This one with a Wicked Roll, this is one of the best. My personal favorite, though, is Undying Evil. Because most of these cost more than 1 mana or return the creature tapped. But Undying Evil costs 1 mana and returns the creature untapped and with a +1/+1 counter on it.
This art is a reference to Evil Dead.
I think so.
Hello, Beanie.
So,
Come here.
granted, with all these, you gotta find a way to get her killed. But in mono black, that's not terribly hard. There's lots of sacrifice effects. Also, you could just block with her. So that way she's doing double duty. And then, here's the thing. You may play the exiled cards for as long as they remain exiled. That's really good. The way that's worded, that means that even if she leaves the battlefield, you can still cast these cards.
This is for the bean.
So, if she ends up back in the command zone, you still have those 2 things in your extra bonus hand. If she flickers out and comes back in, you can still cast the old ones and the new ones. So, out of all these things, actually, I think that if you do that strat, you could make her work. I think that it's a tough road to hoe, but you could make Black Cat work if you do that exact thing. And is she removal? No. Is she ramp? No. She's kind of the opposite of ramp. She costs too much mana. Is she a finisher? No. Is she card draw? Well, kind of. She draws you 2 cards from your opponent's deck of your choice. So, I think she could actually be an interesting commander. But let's move on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was starting to be like, are we ever going to leave?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Carnage.
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
I remember this guy from the Super Nintendo game cartridge that was red.
We got a 4/3 symbiote villain for 2 mana, a black, and a red with trample. Mm-hmm. And when Carnage enters, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains, this creature attacks each combat if able, and when this creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it. Mayhem, black-red. What is Mayhem?
So, they usually spell out these repeating keyword mechanics and what they do in the commons and uncommons. So by the time you get to the rares, they can put more text on them. So we don't have the reminder text in front of us. But if I remember correctly, it is, you may cast this card from your graveyard if you discarded it this turn. For its Mayhem cost. So, if you discarded Carnage, you can cast him for 2 mana that turn. So, if he's your commander, good luck discarding him. That's going to be hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you can only discard a card from your hand. Other games are more flexible with what counts as a discard, but in Magic specifically, discard is putting a card directly from your hand to your graveyard. You can't discard a card from the command zone, which is where he'll start the game. You can't discard a card from the battlefield. That's sacrificing or dying. So that means that in order for mayhem to ever happen, he needs to either be in the 99 or have already come from your command zone and then gone back to your hand and then got discarded, which is difficult. So for that reason,
I
without
guess it's
even
more of
looking
an
too much at the rest, he's got to be better in the 99.
He's got kind of a nice berserker thing going on.
Absolutely. I think there's another Carnage in here that might work better as a commander. And okay.
Hey, can we see his alternate art?
Yeah. Ooh.
There we go.
Oh, and there's another alternate
Oh
art.
my.
That one is particularly gruesome. A play promo? Okay, so there's probably going to be some reward for playing at stores or something, but... Okay, so I think then, actually, the only way to fairly judge him as a commander is to just forget that he has Mayhem altogether.
Yes.
So if you can't do the Mayhem, a 4-mana 4/3 Trampler is okay. And when it enters, you get to resurrect a small creature and give it this like berserker ability, but then it gets sacrificed again. Only having an enters trigger means that it happens one time. It only resurrects a small creature, and that creature is going to die somehow.
It's gonna run into battle until it dies.
I don't see that being a particularly powerful effect. Doing it once, yeah, I don't know. So I think that this is a correct judgment. He is better in the 99.
Yeah.
So we're moving on.
Carnage is another offshoot of Venom.
Yes.
And his deal is that I don't think he's stronger than Venom. I just think that he's more chaotic and furious than Venom.
Yeah, from what I have seen, gosh, it's been a long time. I did watch the Spider-Man cartoon show a bit when I was a kid, the 90s one. And Venom was like a little on the selfish side, very much black aligned in magic.
Yeah.
Works well. And he does kind of follow his impulses a bit. But Carnage is a freaking maniac. He's just a violent psychopath. So, that said, we're now on to Chameleon, Master of Disguise.
This feels kind of like a deep cut one because I did not know this guy existed until right now.
I don't think I did either, although we can pretty quickly get a vibe for what he's doing, considering all the masks in the background.
Well, his name is Chameleon. Come on, it's not that hard to figure out.
You know, I watched a video recently that described that there is a male chameleon and a female chameleon in the comics, and they are not related. They're just from different decades, and they just used the name again and hope nobody would notice.
Okay, this is just making me flash back to Mortal Kombat. With their two chameleons.
Wait, no, never mind. I am confusing it with a lore video that I saw about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there are two
Forget
chameleons
what I just
in
said.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, so why don't we read the card?
All right, we've got a 2/3 human shapeshifter villain for 3 mana and 1 blue. You may have Chameleon enter as a copy of a creature you control, except his name is Chameleon, Master of Disguise. It has Mayhem, 2 and a blue.
So this is another one where, as a commander, we have to ignore Mayhem, because 90% of the time you're not going to be able to pull that off. Although blue could do it better than most colors, because you have to put it into your hand somehow, and blue could bounce it.
I would see that... Yeah, I would see Mayhem in a commander as more of a defense or a way to react to getting bounced than anything else, rather than an integral part of strategy.
Yeah, it's a real contingency plan.
You bounced me? Well, now I can do this, so...
It's not going to come up very often, I don't think, as a commander. But the copy ability is the main deal. So, 4 mana, 2/3. Now, with him entering as a copy of a creature you control, that does limit him as far as a clone. If we go back to the OG clone, you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature, which is great. Your opponent could be playing dinosaurs, and with clone, you get a big old dinosaur that maybe they paid 8 mana for and you pay 4. But with this, you can only copy a creature you control. So
that's going to give you 0 guidance for how to shape the deck, except this guy wants to copy things that you already have. Yeah, this guy's better in the 99 at best.
Well, but Spark Double is my go-to for usually the best version of a clone in Commander for cloning your own stuff, because this one solves like a couple problems at once. One thing is that when you clone your commander, it's legendary, right? And the legendary rule says that if you control 2 or more permanents that are legendary and have the same name, you have to put all but one of them in your graveyard. I thought it was sacrifice, by the way. Pro tip: you don't technically sacrifice to the legend rule. If you ever do trigger the legend rule, keep in mind it's not technically a sacrifice. Anyway, Chameleon gets around that problem by having his name not change, so you can copy a legendary creature without trouble. But if he's your commander, then what are you copying? You're copying all kinds of other random stuff in your deck?
And they all have to be blue stuff.
Just mono blue? I mean, you could
Well,
have...
I guess technically colorless, but blue.
Yeah.
That is slim pickings compared to what's possible.
Spark Double does the same thing because it does the whole and isn't legendary thing, so it can copy a legendary creature. But if it copies a creature, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And it can copy a planeswalker, and if it does that, it has additional loyalty. So Spark Double is really good in the 99 in that you can get a copy of your commander if your commander does something that would be really good to double, and like half of them do. Honestly, I'd say that Spark Double belongs in like almost half of all blue commander decks. Chameleon, on the other hand, I just don't see it.
Nah.
You can double up on some blue utility creatures, but there's 1,000 ways of doing that. One last comparison here, I think. I'm going to compare him to Sakashima. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces is a really good commander. It's a 4-mana clone that keeps its name and says that the legend rule doesn't apply to all of your permanents. Most importantly...
Don't use Chameleon, use Sakashima.
It has partner. So partner means you can have a second commander that is 1 or 2 other colors. And you can use Sakashima to clone your other commander.
Oh yeah, this
is 10 times better than Chameleon. So Chameleon's going all the way down in lame.
To be fair, having a Master of Disguise type villain in a comic it's not that original.
No. Every comic series has a shapeshifter, and sometimes they're villain.
And you named him Chameleon? Come on.
Yeah. Okay, now this one is insane. First off, look at the pre-order prices. Whoa.
Oh, Lord. Anyway.
And next, this is our only 5-color commander.
Let's see how well Cosmic Spider-Man can wield it. We've got a 5/5 Spider-Human hero for Wooburg with flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, haste, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the other spiders you control gain flying, first strike, trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you know how...
This is a spider nonsense. This card is begging to be put into a spider nonsense deck.
Absolutely. So first off, vanilla test?
Pass.
Yes. In fact, he passes in terms of raw mana cost to power and toughness, but of course having all 5 colors is one of the most difficult costs that you can have. And having a 5-color deck is difficult to build reliably, especially for a newer player. Unless you've got like the best mana base or, you really know what you're doing, it can be tricky. But having those 5 keyword abilities make him very powerful. I want to say especially the haste, but especially all of them. Giving all of them to your other spiders is really powerful. I think that out of the 4 pillars, he comes closest to being a finisher.
Yes.
And then
you want to get your spiders on the field, then you want to bring this guy out, and then you just want to ruin someone's day.
Yeah, basically, this is the guy that if you pull him, then you can play everything that you pulled in your draft in one terrible deck.
If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It's up to you. Manhattan, apparently.
Personally, I think that this commander is most likely to be seen at the head of the most Timmy decks that you've ever seen. Are you familiar with Timmy, the psychographic?
Yes.
Yeah.
The, what are they called? Like the archetypes of Magic players?
Yeah, the Timmy, Johnny, Spike, Vorthos, and there's sometimes others.
Yeah, I'm more of a Vorthos than anything else.
Yeah, so this is the Timmy. This is the one that gives you a glimpse of phenomenal cosmic power and makes you, like, squee over it. Because this card is crazy. And it's actually not bad, except I think most of the people who are going to try to play this commander will struggle to get a 5-color mana base working. and it'll basically be all the draft chaff common and uncommon spider people that they found thrown into a deck. And you know what's going to happen? Sometimes they're going to beat you, and it's going to be embarrassing. Because sometimes they're going to get the mana when they need it, and sometimes they'll get the spiders on curve.
You're going to
And
want triomes. You're going to want. Are there quadomes?
no, but I mean, you could be playing your City of Brass.
You're also going to want to dip into Duskmourn and get those everywhere tokens.
Maybe, maybe. Also, this is an actual spider themed deck. Most of these spider people, well, a lot of them don't really care about spiders per se, but you can be playing Arachnogenesis, which makes potentially a lot of spiders, and now give all those spiders a billion keyword abilities. This also would probably work really good with like what was it, Ishkana, I think is the name. Ishkana Graph Widow.
Well, that's horrifying.
Yeah, a year or two ago, this was the best spider commander, I think. Because when it enters, if there are 4 more cards in your graveyard, you create 3 spiders that have reach, and then you can make a player lose life equal number of spiders you control.
I've been toying with the idea of making a spider deck, but I don't think I wanted to make a Spider-Man deck. But
Yeah.
spooners.
Well, I mean,
Shelob, whose lair is death.
so there's a few different versions of Ishkana here. I liked Ishkana as a commander because it provides you a bunch of bodies, it provides you a goal, it's a solid creature on its own, and it provides you a finishing move here. Basically, you get to 7 after having built up spiders the whole game, and you kill somebody. That's great. There's a couple of other good spider commanders out there. Shelob is the single most powerful spider printed before 2025. Child of Ungoliant. I think this is the last thing I'm going to give you to read here for a bit.
Thank you. Death Touch, Ward 2. Other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2. Whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food with the food ability, and it loses all other card types.
This thing is insane. I mean, first off, vanilla test?
Oh boy, we're passing that, and it's frightening.
With flying colors. This thing is insane. It should have cost at least 1, maybe 2 more mana. And it has Death Touch and Ward 2 to boot, and gives your other spiders Death Touch and Ward 2. And what? Is that a drawback? No, it's not. You kill your opponent's creatures and turn them into food. Whoa! And Shelob has been great as a commander on its own. It's been great even if there aren't any other spiders in your deck. But put her in the 99 of a Cosmic Spider-Man deck, and you're going to see, like...
And stuff's gonna go bananas.
Spider-Man, Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, Shelob, and everything goes to heck. Everyone gets eaten alive by Spider-Man. So, if you see someone playing Cosmic Spider-Man... I think what you should ask them is, are they playing Shelob?
Is Shelob in that deck somewhere?
And if the answer is no,
No.
you're going to have a wacky, wild,
Yes.
fun time. It's going to be silly. And if Shelob is in their deck, they probably built it right and prepare to get, like, eaten alive.
By spiders.
So, with that said, I'm going to put him in exciting.
Yeah.
Not because I think that he's actually that great, but he's interesting, powerful still. I mean...
You can pull some nonsense with this, and it'll be fun to watch.
I think it's going to be a real judge of how good you are as a deck builder.
Otto Octavius.
Doc Ock, Evil Inventor. And he's part of a panorama.
Ooh, panoramas. We like panoramas around here. Okay, we've got an 8/8,
Yeah.
Human Scientist Villain for 5 mana, a blue, and a black. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an 8/8 robot villain artifact creature in addition to its other types. All right, we're getting those arms today.
And I'm noticing a distinct missing phrase of until end of turn.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that.
You can turn your Soul Ring, your Dimir Signet, whatever you've got lying around,
Your Wayfarer's Bauble.
into an 8/8 artifact creature permanently. For free the turn it comes out. I mean, well, not for free. It's 7 mana to get out. But then you get an 8/8 and another 8/8. And Remember, the artifact that you turn into a robot villain, as long as it was already on the battlefield, doesn't have summoning sickness and can attack that turn. So you've effectively got an ever expanding army of 8/8 robots that effectively have haste in a deck where in blue black you're probably going to be ramping with tons and tons of mana rocks anyway. So by the time that you get to his mana, which is probably a turn or two faster at least than what you would think, he turns your ramp spells into your army. So
Can't say he doesn't recycle.
now 7 mana is slow. He doesn't have ward or any kind of defensive ability built in. He doesn't have anything to actively do with him to like draw cards or remove creatures or anything. He is 100% a finisher in a deck that's going to be just a blue-black artifact creature deck.
But then again, what would you expect from a guy who's wearing a hazmat suit without the helmet?
So honestly, I'm going to put this guy as... I want to put him at the bottom of Solid Commander because I think that he's got some pitfalls that would make most people say that he's bad because he costs too much, he's too slow, he doesn't have defense or evasion or anything like that. However, I think that this is a commander of a deck where you don't need the commander to win.
Right, he's a finisher. He's the
Yes.
grand finale, not the he's not the meat and potatoes of this. He's the dessert.
Yeah. Most commanders, you want to get them out as soon as possible so that you can draw cards with them, you can deal extra damage, you can buff your stuff. But this is the kind of guy that you should have a deck that is fully capable of running without him. But once, you start running out of steam, your creatures get outsized by dinosaurs and dragons and angels and stuff, then you drop Doc Ock and change the game. And then you win.
And then you get to smile just like that.
And this effect is basically happening the turn you cast him, so it's kind of like having haste or something like that, because you're going to get at least the one effect. So I think it's actually kind of good.
Sidebar, I thought that the female version of Doc Ock was awesome.
Yeah. So we have another version of Doc Ock
Oh,
here.
Sinister Scientist.
And, wait, I need to point out one thing that's going to come up again.
I was noticing
symbols.
the symbols were different.
Yeah, so the Spider-Man face symbol means that it is from the standard legal Spider-Man set. And the spider logo means that it is from the non-standard legal Spider-Man Eternal set, which are coming out together. They overlap, so you don't have to buy separate booster packs or anything. Just some fractions of the cards you open in boosters will have this symbol on them and not be standard legal. There'll be like one per pack or something. And if you do some of the introductory products, they'll have these in them.
All right.
But yeah, so
Doc Ock, Sinister Scientist. We got a 4/5 human scientist villain for 4 mana and a blue. And as long as there are 8 or more cards in your graveyard, Doc Ock has 8/8. As long as you control another villain, Doc Ock has hexproof.
well, as far as common legendary creatures go, I think this one's not bad. I mean, he fails the vanilla test, but not by a lot. And this is a creature who will pass the vanilla test when you're ready.
Yeah.
You know? He's
You get him the support he needs, and he's golden.
exactly, and the support that he needs is not terribly difficult. He needs to have 8 or more cards in your graveyard, and well, if you were doing that on accident, you would take a while. But you're playing blue. That means that you can play cards like Careful Study, which is one of my favorite kind of forgotten cards because it's barely been reprinted.
Draw 2 cards, and then discard 2.
Yeah, for just 1 mana.
Filter your hand.
Remember what I was talking about all that cycling before? So we have like, what was it called? There's cards with like island cycling. So I would recommend playing, where's the
Oh my
Lord of the
god,
Rings
Ice
one?
Flan, I like it.
I mean, there's a lot of options here, but this one might be the best just because island cycling for 1 from Lord of the Rings. 100% play Lorien Revealed. Turn 1, you can pay 1 mana, instant speed, to go get an island, and that's 1 card in your graveyard before you've done anything. You can play Wayfarer's Bauble. That's another card in your graveyard. You can play Frantic Search. 100% play Frantic Search. Because Frantic Search is just careful study, except you untap 3 lands. It costs 3, but it costs -3 also. And it's an instant. So 100% play that. And one last kind of deeper cut here. How about Magus of the Bazaar? That's one that I don't normally recommend, but why don't you read it to us?
Let's see. For a tap, you draw 2 cards and then discard 3.
Yeah, in most decks, this seems bad because you're getting card disadvantage. But if you're trying to get cards in your graveyard as fast as possible, this is one of the most efficient ways of doing it. It comes out way earlier than Doc Ock, can do it repeatedly, and then you stop doing it when you want to stop. And then you just play, of course, a handful of other villains to give them hexproof, but you can play Swiftfoot Boots and stuff like that to give them hexproof. Honestly, I think this card is okay. Because once you've jumped through the hoops, you have an 8/8 hexproof as your commander, and that is okay. That is.
I call that a bit more than okay, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's still not drawing you cards. He's still not removal. He doesn't have evasion. He is a finisher, but you need to give him the evasion to do it.
There seems to be a running theme with the Doc Ock cards. They need a little support before they can do the awesome thing.
Yeah, and this one in particular seems to be part of a team.
Oh, yeah.
This one seems to be at the head of an army of robots.
The Sinister Scientist one is definitely angling for the Sinister Six.
Oh, yeah. And we got one more Dr. Octopus here, the Master Planner. This is the mythic rare, the one that's supposed to be the most powerful, I guess, in a way. Why don't you read it?
Let's take a look. All right, we've got a 4/8 human scientist villain for 5 mana, a blue and a black. Other villains you control get +2/+2. Your maximum hand size is 8. At the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 8 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the distance. That is a lot of card draw.
I don't know why we both thought distance, even though the word is difference.
Did I say distance?
Yeah, equal to the distance. Is it because of the word equidistant? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think it's just because there's a concept metaphor of the difference between one thing and another being measured as distance.
True.
You know, the difference
Like on a
between
number line or something.
the difference between your abilities and mine is you've got a long ways to go, kid. You see what I'm getting at here?
It's a wide gulf of difference because that's geographical. Yeah.
It's a pretty common concept metaphor, you know? Like, up is good.
So,
Difference is distance.
vanilla test.
Let's see. We are not passing that today, but not by a lot.
Correct. That for 7 mana you'd want a 7/7, and he has 1 extra toughness but 3 less power. So he's a little on the chunky side. Actually, he's way on the chunky side. 8 is a huge toughness.
He's got a big butt.
But 7 is a lot in the mana cost as well, and blue-black is not great at ramping. You're going to have to rely on those mana rocks again, except this guy doesn't pay off the mana rocks. So you would think that maybe he's not as good as the other one. No. This one gives you an even more interesting and potentially powerful game plan. You are playing the villain deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, all of the villains that you're playing who were of like mediocre to okay size, now they're all threats. And your maximum hand size is 8, and at the beginning of your upkeep end step, you draw up to 8. So that means it's going to have that effect on the very first turn. Unless someone has instant speed removal, then this guy is going to draw you a bunch of cards, make all your villains stronger before you attack with them, and is going to be a reoccurring threat every turn after that, because you can dump your hand, which might be full of like small evasive villains that are now all individual threats. You're just playing cards like crazy. Honestly, I think that if you wanted to build a villains deck, this is one of the best commanders for it.
It all depends on the support that blue and black have in villainy.
And they've got quite a bit. They've got quite a bit.
So, yeah, this guy is definitely doing the flavor thing of being the guy with the plan rather than the front runner.
Absolutely. And so, like all of the Dr. Octopuses so far, you might want to like not necessarily rush into him. The deck is really about playing the 99 as a whole deck and then dropping him down to like seal their fate. But drawing potentially as many as 8 cards is huge. So I think that he's exciting and pretty good.
Well done, Dr. Octopus.
Yep.
Have you put him in the tier?
Yeah, I actually did that a little bit
Oh,
ago.
I wasn't
Yeah.
looking, I guess.
So next we have the first of our modal
Oh, this will be a fun
double-faced
one.
characters. This is a new mechanic, slightly, but go ahead and read them first off.
Okay, our boy Eddie Brock, a 3/3 human hero villain. Human hero villain. Wow, that's a combination.
Yeah, he's
All right.
been both, so they didn't decide.
All right. For 2 mana and a black, when Eddie Brock enters, return target creature card with mana value 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. And for 3 mana, and that's Jund, correct?
Yeah.
For 3 mana and black, red, green, transform Eddie Brock. Activate only as a sorcery.
Oh, I wonder what Eddie Brock might transform into. Can anyone imagine?
It's a freaking mystery! Oh my god!
It's Venom! Is that Venom's music?
Have music?
No, but it's a wrestling reference. But anyway.
Anyway, for 3 mana, black, red, and green, that's Jund, you've got a symbiote hero villain at 5/5 with menace, trample, and haste. Whenever Venom attacks, you may sacrifice another creature, and if you do, draw X cards. Then you may put a permanent card with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, where X is the sacrificed creature's mana value.
And the flavor text there. I've got the nose for the story. He's got the hunger for the kill. Together.
We are Venom!
Yes. So this might be the best version of Venom, depending on who you're talking to. This gives you the most options for stuff to put in a Venom deck that involves, like, eating people and stuff. Haste, trample, menace, great combination. And when I said before, this is a modal double face card in a mechanic style they haven't actually done before. We've seen modal double faced cards in the form of things like, what would be a good example? Pathway. The Pathways are modal double face cards. They are because they have 1 triangle on the front and 2 triangles on the back. It means that you can play it as either side from your hand. Eddie Brock can be played from your hand, or Venom can be played from your hand, or the command zone. So when you have this as your commander, both of them are your commander. You can choose to cast them for 3 mana on turn 3, for 6 mana on turn 6, whatever. But also, these are the only modal double face cards where you can cast them on the front side and then still pay to transform them into the back.
Woo! That's a lot going on there.
Absolutely.
But is it worth it in this instance?
I think so. In fact, I think it's even worth it to bring it out as this side and then flip it, in part because you are going to be building a form of an aristocrat's deck, one where you do want to have creatures come onto the battlefield, die, come back, and stuff like that. But you're also doing something that's a little bit like a birthing pod kind of a plan, a ladder, right? Where you're going to be going up and up in mana costs in order to get bigger and bigger things dropped on the battlefield for free and drawing cards and stuff. So I think that there's a lot of potential here for building something interesting and starting with reanimating a creature that, I don't know, maybe cycled, maybe had some kind of sacrifice effect, like what's it called? Is it Pit Imp or something like that? It's Pit. There's too many cards that have the word pit in it.
Most of them capital.
Yeah, Pit.
Pithing needle.
I'm thinking of a Thrall for some reason. I am not thinking of it, but there's like some small creatures that like sacrifice for mana or something like that. So, and then you can bring it back and do it again. So I think that he is good and exciting. maybe around here.
All right.
Because I think that is the most unique one so far, and that one is just kind of crazy. That one's yeah. So. Next,
Electro.
I'll tell you this is secretly one of my favorites right off the bat.
All right. We've got a 2/3 human villain for 1 mana and 2 reds With flying, you don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, add red. When Electro leaves the battlefield, you may pay X, and when you do, he deals X damage to target player because kaboom!
Yeah. So, we talked about the vanilla test being for like rumbling, and he doesn't quite make the cut, right? He's slightly below curve. And yet this guy's going to be coming out and probably attacking for 2 flying on the regular, just zipping around zapping people, no big deal, while you store up mana. While doing the
You
red
store that
instant and
mana up
sorcery
like a
thing.
battery, and then when he leaves the battlefield, you bomb everything.
And there was a card before that did something similar.
Well, I say
I
bomb
hope
everything.
I can remember what it's called, kind of. It's a tyrant, I think. It's a dragon. Leyline Tyrant, that's the one. This is the most similar card that already exists. It's 2 red red for a flyer. It's a 4/4. So it costs a little more, it's a little bigger. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end, which, by the way, that does include when turns end. So it does float from your turn to your opponent's turn and all the way back around. They don't stop floating because technically your turn ending is the end of your cleanup step. So. And then when this creature dies, you may pay any amount of red. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. So this has got the fireball thing that we're talking about. Except it doesn't help you build the mana, and it can't be a commander. This guy helps you build the mana and can be your commander and is 1 mana less. This guy is nuts. He's also competing with Bergie for one of the most efficient like mono red mana producers. If you want to read this one.
Whenever you cast a spell, add red. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once.
By the way, this is a modal double face card where you can cast either the front or the back because of the symbols at the top. But there wasn't a way to switch it once you've chosen. So that's why Eddie Brock is new. But it's all about this thing. This will trigger off of any spell you cast, and it'll float for a little bit, but only until end of turn. This will only trigger off of instants and sorceries, but it'll float forever.
Yep.
And in a deck with Electro, you want to be playing Seething Song. Just cost 3 makes 5. You want to be playing Mana Geyser, which, if you aren't turned on to Mana Geyser already, get there. Look how much red this thing can make.
Add red for each tapped land your opponents control.
When you have 5 mana, and your opponents each also probably have about 5 mana, maybe everybody tapped out in a typical casual game. 5 times 3, that's 15. This frequently makes 15 red. So just float that, plus 1 more because it's a sorcery. And you're just doing that all the time, and you're playing Lightning Bolt and whatever else you want to do. And
Electro
then
here is basically a speedrun deck, which is very much a flavor win.
So he is extremely efficient at killing a player. The problem is that he does deal that damage to target players. So you might be able to build up, 40 damage to throw all at one player. Then what? You got to start over? That's the only tough part about it. So I'm torn between Solid Commander and Excited. I think I'm going to put him at the bottom of Excited because he's got a huge potential at killing somebody. You might need to find other ways of killing the other people. All right. Next we have this guy that I don't think any of us have ever heard of.
Who new phone, who dis?
Ezekiel Sims' Spider Totem?
Okay.
Why don't you read him?
All right, we've got a 3/5 Spider Human Advisor for 4 and a green with Reach. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target spider you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn.
Okay, this is a good time for me to bring up a little bit of trivia that Spider Human Advisor. So this isn't just for all the Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. Obviously, he doesn't have spider in his name necessarily. I mean, he kind of does. But this is for anyone who has spider DNA specifically. So Peter Parker has it, but some characters that might have spider in their name might not have the spider type because they might be spider themed without having spider DNA. And an example of that is Doc Ock does not have octopus as his creature type because he does not have octopus DNA,
No,
despite
it's
being
entirely a
octopus
tech
themed.
thing.
He's
Plus,
not biologically an octopus.
yeah, it's entirely a tech thing.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the same thing with Vulture. He probably isn't a bird genetically. Lizard, it's debatable, I think. I think he is genetically a lizard at this point.
Yes, at least part of the time.
Yeah,
Scorpion
is
no.
questionable. I think it depends on which scorpion you're talking about.
I think Scorpion's deal is that it's just a suit that happens to look like a scorpion.
Yeah, and Rhino, I think, is also, like, there might be different versions of Rhino. I don't know. But I guess this guy's got spider DNA. I've never heard of him, though. For all his wealth and power, there is a fear deep inside Ezekiel that spurs him to train others. Look, he fails the vanilla test. He's got reach, which is purely a defensive ability and not a great one. Even in green, reach is a nice bonus, and he needs everything he can get. And then you give +2/+2 to a spider on your combats, not your opponents. So in theory, he's a 5/7 on your turn, or buffing somebody else. Overall, honestly, this guy's lame.
Ouch.
Despite being an uncommon, he's not as good as some of the commons, honestly.
Flash Thompson!
Look at this little slice of Americana over here.
Oh man, and check out, is that Gwen Stacy on the left there?
I think that's supposed to be Liz Allen.
No one cares about your Spider-Man obsession, Flash!
Yeah, which in the movies with Tom Holland, we see her as like the newscaster girl, and I like her, she's fun. And he's got his Spider-Man t-shirt that is apparently era appropriate, and in the background that's Peter right there.
Oh my god, there he is!
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Liz Allen is just having none of this. She looks so bored, but she looks so done with this.
Yeah. So, what does he do though?
Well, we've got a 2/2 human citizen for 1 and a white. This is all seems appropriate so far. With Flash.
Surprise. Flash has Flash.
When Flash Thompson enters, choose one or both. Heckle, tap target creature. Hero worship, untap target creature.
You know what? This is kind of fun.
It is funny.
Is this good as a commander?
No.
No. Is this good in the 99? Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
He's a flash in the pan, but you know, he'll do.
I think that he may have a role. I hesitate to say that he's lame. Honestly, he's a 2-mana 2/2 with 2 upsides, and that's pretty good. And tapping or untapping a creature at instant speed is a pretty good trick, like spinning.
Yeah.
To make a Phantom Menace reference.
Because why not?
Yeah. And in theory, if you're playing something like a Flicker deck, then you can do this repeatedly, and this can be pretty fun. You can tap a creature that's about to attack you. You can tap a creature that's about to block you and get through combat. You can untap your creature that they thought couldn't block, and now it can. You know, just remember, when you're playing a card like this, you want to do it as a surprise as much as possible. You want to wait till the last possible moment to do something that your opponents don't expect, and that's when you're going to get your best advantage. So, next we have a character that I've been excited about.
Has shot up in popularity since Into the Spider-Verse came out. The Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen.
Hell yeah. I like the look and the attitude of Gwen Stacy as Spider-Gwen, and there's like 3 or 4 different versions of her.
And that outfit is just so gosh darn pretty!
It somehow is super appealing to both like male comic book characters and female comic book or male comic book readers and female comic book readers.
Well, yeah, it's feminine without being a fan service, without being a marital aid, you know?
Yeah, it's also one of the few outfits that like a lot of guys who sometimes tend to be shallow will look at and say that's a pretty cool outfit, and a lot of girls will look at and say, yeah, I would actually wear that.
Yeah. Although, frankly, I think I would lose the hood because that's going to mess with my peripheral vision.
Well, Gwen Stacy apparently likes to go incognito with the hood thing sometimes. I don't know. She wears a hoodie most of the time, I guess.
That's my only criticism, and frankly, that's a quibble because this outfit looks great.
Yeah. So what does she do though?
All right, we've got a 4/4 human spider hero with For 3 mana and 2 red with Menace. Whenever Ghost Spider attacks, she deals X damage to defending player, where X is the number of attacking creatures.
Okay, so on the first hand, it looks like she fails the vanilla test. 5 mana, 4/4, and having Menace, you want her to rumble. But she's not trying to be a solo act here, actually. She deals X damage to defending player. X is the number of attacking creatures. So she's always going to throw an extra 1 damage out there. A good creature to throw a Basilisk Collar on, perhaps? Basilisk Collar, where your creature gets Death Touch and Lifelink. It's usually the most efficient way of giving lifelink. That and Shadow Spear. Lots and lots of decks will play these two as really cheap ways of getting lifelink and something. But just checking, she deals the damage. Yeah, so if she has lifelink, then all of your other creatures can be doing their own thing, but as long as they're attacking, she's dealing lots of damage and gaining you life in mono red. That's a great life gain engine in mono red, which usually lacks it. And she's absolutely a finisher in a go wide deck. The only trick is you gotta have lots of little creatures to trigger her, and ideally they'd attack more than once. Red can make lots of little creatures, but they're usually very flimsy.
Ghost Spider, Queen of the Goblins.
Actually, yeah, she might be at the top of a goblin deck, strangely enough. Or, I don't know, elementals or something. Have you ever done a tempt with little burning critters? Tempt with Vengeance? I don't know why that came up like squiggly for a second there. Oh, is there like internet on the fritz or something? There we go. Okay, can you read that card for us?
Tempting offer. Create X11 red elemental creature tokens with haste. Each opponent may create X11 elemental creature tokens with haste. For each opponent who does, create X11 red elemental creature tokens with haste.
Yeah, so this
You can
is
have
one
some,
of...
but I get more.
Yes. This is one of the better ways of getting an army of little dudes in mono red. Now, granted, most of the time your opponents are not going to be terribly tempted by this. But if they do, more fool them. Say you pay like 6 mana into this, you get 5 elementals, you get 6 triggers off of Ghost Spider because she triggers herself. But if someone else chooses to copy it, you could get 10, 15, even 20 triggers off of this with 1 spell cast. So the upside, honestly, probably not going to happen very often. But I think this is also a deck where you probably play your Impact Tremors, your Perforos, and your, I think I'll mention like one last card here. It is, shoot. Never mind, I can't think of its name. There's an Offspring Lizard that like has you deal 1 damage whenever a creature enters. So you just play a go wide mono red deck, and that seems like a lot of fun. I'm putting her up in exciting.
And now, for something classic.
Green Goblin Nemesis.
We've got a 3/3 Goblin Human Villain for 2, a black and a red, with flying. Whenever you discard an on-land card, put a 1/1 counter on target goblin you control. Whenever you discard a land card, create a tap treasure token. Okay, we want a goblin deck. We want the gobliniest deck ever.
Yeah, and strangely, this is going to be one that's going to be discarding cards a lot. And he doesn't provide you the outlet to discard. You got to figure that out yourself. But he does provide you a benefit to doing so, of buffing your goblins and making treasures. I wonder if there's like a mechanic in this set that cares about you discarding cards. Maybe it's villain themed. Mayhem. Mayhem is what I'm thinking of. This is the commander of your Mayhem deck. At least the best one that doesn't have a discard outlet built into it. So this is basically a red-black Goblin Mayhem deck, and that sounds like a lot of fun. And it's probably pretty good. 4 mana, 3/3 flying with those upsides, pretty good. Does provide both extra power that'll help you finish, and it provides you ramp in the form of these treasure tokens.
Willem Dafoe is still the best Green Goblin.
Oh, he was so good.
He was better than he had any business being. He just ate and left no crumb.
Yes. And I'm going to put him roughly maybe here, actually. I think he's better than those. Honestly, there's something about each of those that's a little bit questionable. This guy, the only thing is that you've got like an actual theme where you might struggle to find enough discard outlets and goblins. But also, goblin decks a lot of times end up being mono red, but there's a lot of good goblin cards in other colors. This will give you a reason to play them.
Yeah.
And then we have Green Goblin Revenant.
Revenant.
So yeah, being like the main antagonist of the franchise, of course there's more than one version of Green Goblin. This is the uncommon one, though.
All right. We've got a 3/3 Goblin Human villain for 3 mana, a black and a red with flying and death touch. Whenever Green Goblin attacks, discard a card. Then draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn.
So this is the sack outlet that I was just talking about. So I think depending on who you are, you may want to have the Mayhem Enabler in the command zone, which this would be. Or if you fill your deck with Mayhem Enablers, then you can have the just synergy piece that the other goblin is. Also, the other goblin cares about the goblin creature type specifically, and this one doesn't. So in a way, this is almost a better commander despite failing the vanilla test a little harder. Death Touch is pretty brutal. I think that if you're trying to build a Mayhem deck and you don't want to care about goblins, this might be a better commander despite being an uncommon. Also, I guess this is not Norman, this is Harry Osborn. Interesting.
That's right. That's weird. Harry Osborn is usually the Hobgoblin rather than the Green Goblin, if I recall my lore correctly.
I think it's changed hands a couple of times.
Eh.
Okay, so far we've gone through how many? 6, 12. Yeah, a good chunk here. We've been at this for about an hour and a half. I think it's time for a brief break. Give ourselves a little bit of a breather before we go on to more.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll call this part 1, and I think we'll catch you guys in part 2. Okay?
Hope you enjoy.
All right, see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.